what does your... Oh, wait, we already covered that. Who does Cover serve, and where do you guys work?
Cover serves, what we say is we do urgent home repair. That's for people who have, like I said, like a leak in their roof or something that they, has to be fixed right away. And we do it for low-income people, and they have to, when they fill out a form, they tell us how much they make, how much money they make, and that determines whether we can help them run out. If somebody makes a lot of money, obviously they can afford to, they can pay for the repairs themselves. If they don't make very much money, then we're happy to help them. And we work within a 45-minute radius of White River Junction. So we go, and that's in Vermont and New Hampshire, so we go as far north as, you ever been to Newport, Vermont, or Newbury? Okay. Well, we go to Randolph, and we go to, in New Hampshire, we go as far south as Claremont and Charlestown. And in Vermont, we go about as far south as Springfield. And we do a lot of work in the Hartford area, actually.
And what community needs does Cover meet? And how important a need is this in our area? And also, are there a lot of people who have this need?
There are a lot of people who have this need. You'd be surprised. One of the things that we do that I didn't mention in my presentation is that there are a lot of people who live in Hanover and students who go to Dartmouth and who are very fortunate and have nice homes and nice cars and nice families, and they're getting good education. And then there are a lot of people who live in the Upper Valley and around this area who just really struggle, like Laura was saying, with food, and they don't have a job or a car. So there are lots and lots of people. We always have a waiting list of people, and so we never. That's one of our frustrations, is that we never can do all the work that needs to be done.
And how does your nonprofit meet these needs?
How does it meet the needs?
Yeah.
Well, what we do is we like to say that we try to make people dry and warm and safe in their homes. And so we do, like I said, we do about 60 home repairs in a year, and that includes putting new roofs on, new floors, building wheelchair ramps for people. And then we also do the weatherization projects, which is making houses obviously warmer. Roofs make them drier, and wheelchair ramps make them safer.
And able to get into the house.
Right. And the other thing is that we really try to help people understand that there are a lot of people living in our community who don't have enough really to get, they really struggle to get by. And so when we have, like I told you, when we have we do a work job and everybody gets together and has lunch together, that's a way to have all these people from, the volunteers and the homeowners, they all sit down and they all just talk. They can talk about food, or they can talk about their kids, but they all realize that they share a lot in common. So we're trying to build a bridge between people who are.
And why is Cover important?
Why is it important?
Yeah. That's.
Yeah, I might turn around and ask you that question, just based on not to put you on the spot, but or either one of you, just given the information that I've said today. Why do you think?
some people, they might not have the money to like fix their house on their own, so like you guys do the weatherization thing and the roof repairs and the floor repairs, and sometimes without that, like somebody could like get torrential rain and pour it right onto them, or they could get like super cold wind chills in their house.
Yeah.
Or they could get like cold if the floor collapses on them.
Mm-hmm.
Or they fall through their floor.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And then also I might just add just what I said before is that it's when we like to say that we're building community, and we like to come into schools and let people know that there are people who are who need our support, and also let those people who need our support know that there are other people in the community who are there to help.
Mm-hmm. And Josh,
You got some questions of your own, eh?
yeah.
Okay.
What do you need to keep doing your work?
What do I need to keep in my work? I would think so. You're asking basically about cover. What do we need to keep us going? Okay. Well, big thing we need is money. Being a nonprofit, we depend on individuals and companies to contribute money to us. We also I write grants, which are grant proposals to foundations, and I don't know if you talked about grants at all, but foundations are organizations that that are funded by, there's some family, you've heard of Bill Gates, right? Mm-hmm. Microsoft. Well, Bill Gates has made lots and lots and lots and lots of money, so he and his wife Melinda have a foundation. And they have so much money that they give a certain amount away every year. But people like Cover have to write to them and say, this is what we do, this is what we need, and this is how much money we would like you to give. Sometimes they get it, sometimes they don't. So we need, the other thing big thing we need is volunteers. We need people to come and help us do the work. And so we're always advertising for volunteers and asking people to help. And we need materials, and there are several organizations, there are several businesses in the Upper Valley, like LaValle's and Bethel Mills and Fogg's Hardware, who sell the materials we need to us, and they sell them at reduced rates, so they're supporting us in that way.
So what can people in the community do to help Cover?
Okay, well, sort of the same things I just said, but they can, people can donate money to us in any amount, from $1 to $1 million. People can call us and sign up and say, gee, I've got this Saturday free, and I would like to come and help, and I'll bring my friends or I'll bring my family, and I help you build a wheelchair ramp. The other thing is, what is the other thing? Oh, that's basically it, volunteering and money. And also, if you know of somebody, if you have a friend or you have a neighbor who you think could use some support from us, we also that's also helpful. You can give us, you can call and say, I have a neighbor who has a hole in their roof, and could you call them or whatever. So.
And what could students do to help Cover?
What could students do to help? Well, you could go home and you could tell your family that we need volunteers. That would be great. You can tell your family, or you can come shop at our Recover store in White River Junction. You could have a bake sale or a car wash and raise a little money and send it to us, and we would be happy to take it, and we'll put it on our Facebook and our website and send you a thank you letter. But it's mostly, and most importantly, is, like Laura said, it's to be aware that there are a lot of people in our community who are living around us you might not even know, but who are really, really struggling, and just to be aware of that.
Is there anything else you would want kids to know about Cover?
Oh, let's see. One thing that I forgot to say, I think I've covered pretty much everything, but one of the reasons that there was a man named Simon Dennis and his friend Nancy Bloomfield who actually started Cover, definitely before you guys were born, but not that long ago. And one of the reasons they started Cover is because they were trying to keep all sorts of materials out of the landfill. They were trying to keep people from throwing things away that were still good. And it's one of the big reasons that we have our store is that instead of, you get rid of when you're done with a sled or a refrigerator or a sofa and it's still good, rather than throwing it in the landfill, you can bring it to the store, you can bring it to the Listen Center, which is another place that sells used goods. And that way, it has a second life. Somebody who needs a couch can have a couch, and it doesn't end up in a landfill, and you get rid of it because you don't need it. Cover gets a little money from selling it, and so I would say that's the other thing to really be aware of, is just to keep, know that a lot of things can stay. A lot of things that are still good don't need to get thrown in the landfill. They can be donated to somebody who needs them.
I'm sorry to interrupt. I just have a couple more minutes, okay? And then we're going to meet back in the classroom.
Mm-hmm.
2 minutes. Thank you.
Well, now our last couple of questions, right, Josh?
Okay. So how long have you been in business?
Cover was started by those two people, Simon and Nancy, in 1998. And then in 2006, Cover became a legal nonprofit, with what we call a 501c3, and that means that we are a nonprofit and we don't get taxed. So I would say 1998 to now, however many years that is.
So that would be 16 years.
Thank you. I was just going to say 16. You beat me to it.
And once you were a legal nonprofit, it was 5 years. No, it was 5 years that you've been a legal nonprofit.
Well, actually,
8.
This is 213, 8.
Yeah. Well,
Because it's
here it's 8.
Right.
So.
Okay.
Why are you called Cover?
Oh, that's a really good question. Cover stands for, I'm not going to be able to remember this, and I should know that. Well, basically, it's cover because we provide cover for people, right? We build roofs and we make homes safe. But it also stands for Corps of Volunteers Engaged in Reuse. I think that's it, but don't quote me. I'll have to tell you exactly what it means. That's embarrassing, but it stands for something.
And how do you know what houses to go to?
How do we know what houses to go to? Well, usually, like somebody from the Haven, where Laura works, they might call us and say, we have some people who are moving out of the Haven, or if we can fix their house, they won't need to come to the Haven. So we get phone calls from neighbors, we get phone calls from other social service agencies, and sometimes people will just hear about us from reading something about us in the paper, and they'll call us up and they'll say, my grandmother lives with us, but she can't get out of the house because our wheelchair ramp is broken. Can you come and help? And so that's how we find out about people. Mostly.
Is that it?
Yeah, that's it.
That's it.